Hi everyone, I'm Sunny, and today we will have a video in regards to a pet reading, but it's going to be specifically about avian pets. I don't think I've done an avian pet reading. I don't think so, but this one's for you if I haven't. So I have five piles you guys can choose from. From left to right, I have pile 1, 2, 3, followed by 4 and 5. So you're more than welcome to pause the video if you need more time. Otherwise, skip to the timestamp in the description. And in case you need a refresher of the question, it's more or less what they like to hear about you. Well, like what they like to hear from you to them. So pile number 1, you guys have the 2 of Swords reversed. So some of the things that they like to hear from you is that there's open communication between both of you. I do think there's like a banter kind of feeling in here of like going back and forth with sweet words, but also playful, maybe mean words from time to time that can hurt, but it's not mean. It just feels more like, imagine you like hearing them tell you like something like, oh, you smell bad or something, and you're like, I'm offended. It's one of those things where you taught them to do that, and now they pick that habit and they run with it. So it feels like they know how to be tongue-in-cheek with you. They might not understand everything, but I do think overall they have a good understanding of what it is to communicate between you and them. Like that species, like different species understand each other because of their own language they've built. Yes, you probably can say words with them, but I do think they overall understand. Overall, I do think that it might be a peaceful environment, but I do think they have their splurges of moments where they want to go chaotic, in the sense where they're always flying. I don't necessarily feel that most of the time, or at least I feel that in this pile that they're not in like staying and like stagnant. Like they might, so like example, if they have a cage, they might not necessarily be in a cage. They might be someone that has an open door, not an open door policy, open door cage, and they can come in and out as they please for the most day. Maybe just like you close it during the night so that they don't wander off and do stuff when you're not supervising them. It could be one of those things where it feels like they have a lot of freedom, possibly around your house or with you, or they're like on your shoulder and they're kind of next to you. It just feels like there's like an understanding that you let them be free without trying to control them. So that's nice that they do enjoy that. They do enjoy hearing you, that you are being not considerate, but you like teaching them. It feels like you like communicating with them. They appreciate that. They appreciate that you don't force them to just have one path, one thing. It's like you give them so many options, and that they enjoy that there's variety. They enjoy that you make them think in that way. They enjoy that there's communication constantly in there, in the relationship between you both, and they appreciate that. You respect that. There's camaraderie, but I do think you're like buddy with your pet. Overall, they do feel playful with you. They're not as serious all the time. I do think they're pets that move around the house, move around with you, or they can be constantly flying, and then when they're tired or when they're like trying to nap or something, they stick to that one location. But they're very peaceful. They're not messy. But they're very, very fun. So that's what I have for you. Pile number 1. Pile number 2, you guys have the, what is it? Wait. The 9 of Cups reversed. So with this one, pile number 2, I do think that your pet, some of the things that your pet likes to hear is that I don't know why there's like food involved, that I feel that you either monitor their food, or you're someone that you don't hold back treats, but I feel like if you, not that you're in the mood to like be sweet, but when you're in the mood to be sweet, you like really give them snacks and stuff. Or maybe you withhold food sometimes because they've been kind of, not saying getting out of habit, they've been, gaining their weight or something, and they're like, I want my snacks back, and you're like, no, the vet said that you're not supposed to have any more of these snacks. You're supposed to eat healthier. This is too much sugar. This is too much like of this. It can be one of those things where you're trying to kind of, monitor their food to some extent, but not like overly too much. Maybe it's just that minor inconveniences for some people, but more so because you want your pet to be healthy, or maybe you're like trying to get them to eat more too. I just feel like because it's a big man, even though it's reversed, I feel like maybe they're thinner too, and you're trying to bulk them up, or like not not get them beefed up, but you're trying to make them gain weight. You're trying to maybe rehabilitate them because maybe they have like their chronic issues, or you found them injured or something, and you're trying to rehabilitate them to be their proper self again, maybe to fly or maybe to move, and maybe you're trying to get them to gain a little bit of weight, or maybe you're trying to get them to be leaning up, toning up, moving their muscles, not staying in one place. You might be called to pick on pile number 1 if you were called to, but there's some connections in here. But I do think overall this pile seems pretty happy. Maybe not all the time, but I do think they're not possibly enjoying the space too much. I don't know why I feel like it's not that they're not enjoying being around you, it's just that they feel like they're limited. There's some limitations. So I wonder if it's because of that, or because it's an emotional limitation that they're working on themselves, because they could have like their own imbalances of their little bodies, or because of you, that you might have been going through through your own stuff, and they're understanding of you, but they know that they're being limited to the affection they're receiving. But do take what resonates. Not everything is going to be resonating to each. Like, not every scenario is going to resonate with you. I also think that maybe they wish for more like affection. They wish for more love, and that's what they expect from you. But it just feels like they're being limited. Maybe you're just not around too much, or maybe you're busy working. I feel like you're maybe working on your finances or something to build up, or maybe they're building themselves up internally, and they're trying to like gain some strength to feel more empowered, to feel more at ease with themselves. But there's something about like, it just feels like this pile is rehabilitating internally, like something's going on inside, and they need to just recuperate for a bit so that they can feel pretty fulfilled inside and outside with their environments. It could be even you, but it just feels like they need to work on that internally. So that's what I have for you. Pile number 3, you guys have the 3 of Wands upright. So what does your pet like to hear from you? I do think that your pile likes to be in motion. I think they're very active birds. Maybe they're birds of prey. But overall, I do think that you might let them fly outside because you're comfortable in trusting them. There's like a trusting bond between you both. So I feel that maybe that's why you connect on a deep level, that you guys maybe have this independent streak. There's a lot of fiery energy, so I feel like you might have your tempers, but I do think there has motivation behind that. So I do think you guys are very, maybe kind of disciplined. So you might actually enjoy watching them fly. It makes you feel free, like there's freedom to explore your surroundings, or maybe freedom to explore the backyard, or they have like their own, I forgot there's a word for it, but it's basically this space where there has a bunch of birds and they get to roam around free, but it's caged, but it's still like a pretty big space. Maybe they have one of those, or maybe they just know that they can come back to you, or they're like exploring the trees nearby your house, and then they come back to you when you call them. It feels like you kind of watch them. Maybe like you're the nanny and they enjoy that, but they enjoy that you trust them, that they're free to explore, but they can come back when they want. So they enjoy that from you. That's more or less what they want to say. It feels more like an action. It doesn't feel like what you say. It's more like the action of you doing something for them that makes them feel happy, if that makes sense. So that's what I have for you, pile number 3. I feel like it was pretty short with that one, but I feel like that was very quick. That's just what they wanted to say. Very different from the other piles. Pile number 4, you guys have the Emperor reversed. So what do they like to hear from you? I do think for the majority of you, you might be more feminine energies, but I do think overall that they like that you're very in touch with that space, or that softer vulnerabilities, that there's a strength to being vulnerable, there's a strength in crying too. But I do think for the most part, most of you guys are feminine, and they enjoy that. They might be avian pets that enjoy that softer side. They enjoy the cuddling. Maybe they enjoy just, not you crying, but you like being emotional with them, talking to them, being soft with them, petting them. It does feel like they enjoy that a lot more than, being rough and tough and let's go and work out, or let's go play rough, or let's go make you work for those trades and stuff like that. It feels like for them overall, they just like to be around you. Sorry, my throat's giving out. Be around you when you're more chill. It feels a lot more peaceful. They're very peaceful birds, and you're a very peaceful person, so they enjoy that. I think there's a mutual understanding that you guys have very similar temperaments, and you guys mesh well together because you kind of like each other's company, where you like to keep things nice, cool, and calm and peaceful at home. So they enjoy that. They enjoy that you're not as harsh and disciplined and action oriented or always on the go. They like that you are maybe sometimes even a homebody, but they enjoy that you're someone that's a lot more calm and slower paced and not always on the go, because they might not be able to see you that often if you were. So that's what I have for you, pile number 4. Very, very sweet pile. Pile number 5, and even then pile number 4, before I go to pile number 5, I do think you probably say much sweeter things to them when you're in private. And you might be a little bit more private about your emotions, and they like that. They like that you open up to them and say nice or sweet things to them when maybe no one's around, or maybe you probably have nicknames for them, and they kind of like hearing that. Pile number 5, you guys have the world card upright. Oops. I need to stop putting the little cards that are nude, basically. But you guys have the world card upright. So what your pet thinks, overall, pile number 1, that they like to hear about you, or from you to them, is how much I think you're overall a very giving person, and you allow them to be themselves wherever they want. So I don't think there's a lot of restrictions with them. I really do think that you kind of let them roam around, and you don't stop them. I think you kind of find humor in that. I do think that makes you feel happy, very content. I do think it's a topic of discussion when it comes to people. So like, if you mix and mingle with your friends and stuff, or you have parties, your avian pet is very much in the foreground. Is it foreground? Or basically there. They're there. Their statement, like they're the statement piece. So I do think that maybe they're talkative, maybe they're parrots. So I do think that overall they're like the center of the attention, where they feel like they're so cool and unique, in that sense, where people want to know more about them. So people are interested in your pet, and they like that. They feel like they're fulfilled in that way, where it's like, my ego's fulfilled, my heart's fulfilled, my mind is fulfilled. Like, I don't have any worries. I feel like you make them feel safe. So overall, when you are with them, they feel safe. They do feel adventurous. They do feel fun. So maybe they are, even at that, an exotic species. So maybe because they're an exotic species, they need more specific care, and you live up to that care. So I do think that you know how to handle that. I do think you like to live up to the challenge. I don't think you were like, you're the kind of person that would set for like a normal like dog, a dog, a cat, a pet hamster. I think you wanted that very rare species. Maybe you are like a vet, for example, or someone in training, or someone that rehabilitates animals too, or maybe you just like having exotic animals that are allowed within your own countries, right? And you're like, oh, people, when they go to your house, people are surprised. They're like, oh, you actually have this? Like, yeah, I do. And they can see that you put a lot of proper care in with them. So they appreciate that, because they know that their needs are being met, because you go above and beyond. You go search for everything that they need just to get them to feel comfortable within your space. That could be something. Or maybe you picked them up in your travels, because you saw that they needed help, and you rescued them, and they feel indebted to you, and they love that. So they do feel love. They do appreciation overall. And yeah, I think that's all that needs to be said overall with this pile. So I hope you enjoyed your message. Thank you so much for listening. And there's plenty of more readings if you want, pet readings too. So thank you so much for listening, guys, and I'll see you soon. So bye, everyone.